So who's everybody here to see right now? We just had what's more properly called a forum. By the way, I'm Jack Hunter. We just had what is more properly described as a forum, not a debate. But it is important to stress that Ron Paul won the debate. I don't mean the debate we just had right now, or the debate we're going to have in the future, the debate yesterday, or any particular debate. I'm talking about the debate in this country over whether we're going to have big government or small government. How do I know Ron Paul won the debate? Because everybody else running for president now sounds a lot like Ron Paul. The idea that we cannot afford to be the world's policeman, the idea that the Federal Reserve can't print money out of thin air, these are now popular with other candidates. We have a Texas governor talking about the Federal Reserve. I wonder where he got that idea from. The fact that all of these candidates are sounding like Ron Paul and saying they're for limited government, and saying they're for sound money, and not to be the world's policeman, and all these things, they're sounding like Ron Paul, but there's one problem with that. Only one person has been consistent on these issues the entire time. We can't afford to have somebody with a sort of, half-eyed, half-cocked record. We need people whose rhetoric matches their record. Anybody can talk about these things, but very few do them and vote the right way. That's what's more important than anything else. And there is one man that's done that his entire career. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Texas Congressman and the next President of the United States.
There's a revolution going on. Members of my family came today, and they're stuck over in the corner there, but I'm going to have them raise their hand because one of my daughter-in-laws is here. Her name is Peggy, and she's over there. Somewhere, raise your hand. And I have a granddaughter over there by the name of Lisa. Here with me named Carol. It's great to see the enthusiasm. It gives me a lot of encouragement. I used to say, it was a very honest statement, I'd go to the universities back in the 1970s and wow, if I could get 15 or 20 out, I thought I'd have a crowd. So it's very nice that you come out. But what is really nice is the enthusiasm. The enthusiasm for something that is very, very vital and very important. When we get involved in fighting for our liberties, actually we do it out of self-interest as much as anything. You don't have to sacrifice anything. You do it because liberty is good for us. It's good for us as individuals. It's good for our family. It's good for our friends. It's good for the economy. Why shouldn't everybody be for liberty? In spite of the fact that I've been doing it for a long time and seeing this operate and sometimes getting a little bit discouraged, there's a lot going on now to be very encouraged by. There's something big going on in this country, and I am so glad you're a part of it right now. There's a lot of problems in our country today, and I think one of the reasons why our numbers are growing by leaps and bounds is that people have come to the point where they no longer trust our government, and matter of fact, I don't believe our government has deserved much trust. other thing that's wonderful about the message of liberty is it's not totally strange to America. Matter of fact, I think most of the good things that came out of America came because we have been a free nation, understood a little bit about liberty, and the founders did their very best job in putting it down in the Constitution, and there was a time when there was a lot more respect for the Constitution. And we did well, and we survived quite efficiently for quite a few years. But in the last 100 years, I would say, things have slipped away, and nobody's paid much attention. But all of a sudden, a lot of people are paying attention because I think the handwriting is on the wall. We cannot continue to do what we're doing today, and this country is bankrupt, and we better adjust for it and change our ways. Yeah! Fortunately for us, we don't have to reinvent the whole concept of liberty. We can refine it and modernize it and encourage it, but it hasn't been around all that long. Tyranny's been around a long time. The tyrants have been there, and believe me, they're hovering around Washington. They see what's happening, and the tyrants are always there. You know, I saw a proposal just on my way over here this afternoon. There was somebody, I think she was probably liberal, she suggested that the cure for everything right now is we need a jobs program, and she was advocating that the Congress immediately spend $1 trillion and get all new jobs. For some reason, so many people in this country are coming around to the opinion that we've been doing that for so long. That's how we got into this trouble. And just spending more and borrowing more and regulating more and taxing more and printing more. It got us into trouble. So what do? They turn around and they just do more of it. But people are waking up, and this is great. All we have to do is look to our traditions. The Soviet system broke down, you know, in '89 and '91, which was an amazing event, considering the Cold War and the nuclear missiles, and you know, they had 30,000 of them, intercontinental ballistic missiles, and they just dissipated. It fell apart because they had a flawed economic system. They couldn't afford it. And those foolish people that made up the Soviet Union, do you remember what they did? They went in and invaded Afghanistan. And all of a sudden, you know, it finally brought them to their knees, and it's ended. But they had no smooth transition, and they will always have more problems than we have. I don't know what will happen. Nobody knows exactly, but I know what the goal ought to be. The goal ought to be to change our ways and work our way out of it just like an individual should. The odds of that happening aren't all that good, but we have to give it a try. But what we need to be prepared for, if it doesn't work, we better be available to help rebuild this society, because there are too many out there who would like to give us more government, more federal government, more international government, more UN, IMF, NATO, WTO, all that. We don't need that. We need to shrink the size of government and deliver the government back locally, but deliver your rights and your privileges back to the individual. Imagine accepting such a radical idea that you have a right to your life. You have a right to keep what you earn. How about that? That would be a tremendous incentive. So this is what we need. We need to get the government out of our way. Instead of more regulations and taxes and spending, what we need is less. We need less spending, less taxes, less regulation. Certainly we need a lot less printing press money from the Federal Reserve. Although we haven't had a complete audit of the Fed, we're learning a lot more about it. It's actually probably a little worse than I ever dreamed. They've spent more money than anybody imagined. So, the more we find out about it, the more the American people are agreeing. We have to deal with the Federal Reserve, and the solution isn't complicated. All we have to do is go back and read that document that the founders wrote and said there is no central bank and only gold and silver can be legal tender.
And the Fed, and the Fed, and the Fed, and the Fed.
to worry about the spending problem. I mean, it'd be nice for everybody's appetite for big government just to disappear and the appetites for wars disappear and all. But if you don't have a Fed, if you had honest money, when the Congress spent too much and they started taxing, people would resist, started borrowing, interest rates would go up. If the Fed wasn't there to buy the debt, interest rates would go up and they'd have to quit. And that is the reason the founders were so clear on this. They had gone through a runaway inflation, and they thought it was very important that you could not emit bills of credit, which is paper money. So just think, if they cannot spend in debt, the entitlement system would be challenged. The entitlement system couldn't last. And, of course, the wonderful part about it is that we had a sound monetary system. Plus, we do need an appetite to have a sound policy dealing with every country around the world. But without the inflationary machine, we couldn't operate our empire, and we'd have to bring all our troops home and let them spend their money here at home. And you notice that we've made some progress, not only with our numbers and our organization and all. Have you noticed that other candidates are starting to think it's in their best interest to talk about our ideas? Why should they be our ideas alone? They're American ideas, and we have to make sure the American people wake up to it. What we need to do is convince more Americans that it's in their best interest to believe in freedom, more confidence, and a better understanding. Because most people do vote in their self-interest, and they've been doing this for years. They've been voting for the welfare states, and certainly big corporations and the military-industrial complex believed it was in their self-interest, and they've been able to do quite well. And this is the reason that, of course, the key element in Washington, D.C. are the lobbyists. People say to me, what do you want to do? You don't want no regulations. We need to write these regulations, I say, well, why do you want more lobbyists to write your regulations? Because as soon as you want to regulate the drug industry or the bank industry, guess who writes the regulations? The lobbyists do, and they protect their interests. So this is the reason that we have the challengement at the core, the whole principle of this pure democracy where majorities can dictate to the minority. The real free society, the real republic, protects individual rights. Right. That is what the understanding of how freedom worked, and we benefited a lot. It was never perfect, and there's every reason to believe that more good can come out of this than bad. But it will not come easily. It will not come without a hard fight because of those who like to lord it over other people. And they actually believe, and I've had other members of Congress tell me this, well, I asked them, why don't you let the people make these decisions? And they literally said, oh, they're too dumb. And that's their attitude. So we need to convince the people that their life is precious and what they do and how they run their life is. Does that mean they're all going to make good choices and proper choices? No. But I think it's so easy. A lot of people have trouble with that. But generally, most people understand like the First Amendment and the religious values. In this country, that you can pick your religion. Unfortunately, it's getting less easy to do that. Or you can pick no religion. And people accept that that's what we're supposed to have in America. But when it comes to economic liberty on spending your money, all of a sudden these people come down and say, no, you don't have the wisdom to do it. You won't take care of yourselves. We have to take care of you. We have to have a safety net. And then there's another group that comes along and say, oh my goodness, if we give you the right to run your own personal life, what do we know? I mean, you might eat, food or something that wasn't protected by FDA. You might smoke something. You might play poker. Who knows what you So there's no confidence that the people will take care of themselves. But the whole thing is under these circumstances, which would obviously be the best of circumstances, if we want it and if we can get it, it does mean that if a person messes up, it's your fault. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care, you don't have your finances, or you practice habits. You can't go to the government and say, well, I smoke too much and now I have this disease and I want you to take care of me. No, in a free society, You get the benefits of your rewards and efforts, but you also have to assume the responsibility for it. We have now, especially in the past 10 years, I'm sure there will be a lot of questions asked the politicians and the candidates about, you know, how much has really been accomplished over these past 10 years. Are we living in a safer and a freer world? No. I agree. We are not freer. We are not safer, and we're certainly a lot more broke. And so there's something wrong. And I think the basic thrust has been that the American people as a whole have not stood up to the interrogation of saying what was the motivation behind 9/11. And they've been told that nothing sinister about it. It was just a lot of bad people who didn't like us because we were free and prosperous. And they said that if what we have to do is go over and spread our goodness. We have to go over and defend our Constitution and protect our freedoms. So we march off around the world. Now we're in 150 countries, 785 bases, spreading our goodness. At the same time, the American people are suffering. We are less free and less prosperous. So something has to give. It's a good place to start, and that is with the Constitution. It's a good place to follow up. The founders were on the right track on foreign policy. Stay out of the entangling alliances. We don't need the UN and NATO telling us when we have to go to war. Monetary policy, we need honest money, and the principle of honest money has been around for a long, long time. The principle of property rights and contracts, that's been around a long time ago. Even the Ten Commandments addresses that subject rather well about no stealing and killing and injuring people. So the ideas and the answers are there. The big question is will we continue to wake up even more people and bring them to this cause, because more people now, even those on the receiving end, are getting pretty worried. They're worried to death there won't be enough of you to work hard and take care of them. So the opportunity is there. I suspect that by next summer, our economy is going to be much worse. And I hope I'm the first one to admit next summer, you know, everything is okay. Unemployment is 2% and there's no inflation. But let me tell you, there's going to be a lot of inflation. We are sitting on a powder keg. It's worldwide. It's never been like this before. It's because we were the counterfeiters of the world, the biggest counterfeiters. We got to issue the reserve currency of the world. And all the other governments in their banking system is built on debt, our debt. And they pyramided debt as well as they pyramid the banking system and all the loans. And this is coming to an end, and this is what the breakdown of This is what one of the major reasons why you're seeing these revolutions in the Mediterranean. Today I saw 250,000 people show up in one city in Israel. And guess what the issue was? It wasn't the Palestinians. It was they were complaining about food prices. That's a sign of what's to come. And the American people are already suffering from it, but then nobody really talks about it. Because our country, in the last 10 years, the standard of living has gone down. We had 30 million new people coming in this country, essentially no new jobs created in the last 10 years. This recession, depression is going on for a long time. And right now, the world has accepted the notion that if you spend money and print money, you can create wealth. It's absolutely false. What we need to do is release creative energy, allow the people to be free, and allow the people to keep what they earn. That's what made America great. That's what can make us great again. All we have to do is clearly understand what liberty is all about and fight for the cause of liberty, and then we will restore that type of prosperity that we all desire. Thank you very much.
actually, he's going to have to get out of here fairly quickly, unfortunately. Let's hear it again for Ron Paul.